It's a Tuesday afternoon, about 12:15. We have an in-studio guest today. Always great to have live music in the studios here at Settlers Green in North Conway. Bruce Marshall's here from the Bruce Marshall Group, and we are talking about his new album, Vintage to Verdict. He just played the lead single off of it called Only Love. Now, Bruce, we've chatted on and off over the years, and you mentioned recently that you're 49 years in the business now.
49 years, yeah, can't believe it.
That covers a lot of ground, doesn't it?
Yeah, that was before high school dances, and that was turning pro in '74. There was other stuff before that, but that doesn't count.
So how did you get your foot in the door and be able to make it a career?
Well, I played guitar in junior high, and I took to it fairly quickly, and I ended up. I was in a musical household, so I learned harmony at a very young age. Like Beatles harmonies, were just, I figured them out instantly. I mean, they just, like, our whole family was just into that, so
nice.
That whole thing. And I just, started playing in junior high and high school bands and got my confidence up. And then out of high school, I teamed up with some guys that were a little more experienced than I was, and they brought me into a band. My parents wanted me to go to Berkeley. On one hand is Berkeley over here, and there's another hand a working band.
Yeah.
17 years old. Guess what I did?
Right.
And so I've been at it ever since. And what helped me be a full-time player, among other things, was when my agent Bob Duteau in about 1981 said, "I want you to play solo." I'm like, "No, I'm a band guy. What do you want me to get up there and tell jokes and hold the room? That's not me." He says, "Look, Bruce, I've got all this college work, blah, 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 so I want you to play solo gigs. Just try it once. If you don't like it, I'll never ask you again." So I tried it once. I couldn't believe how easy it was. I couldn't believe I didn't have to split up the money. And from there on, it was incredible. It was like so liberating. Like at that very moment in time, I realized I didn't need a band.
Right.
And bands can be tough, So I had this, easygoing kind of a feeling about that, like I'm going to be able to work without anyone else but myself, and that's a huge thing. So I'm very grateful about that. And the reason why I became the singer in my first band was because I was the only one who could memorize lyrics. And that's still true today. And I don't mean to brag, but I'm one of the few that never uses an iPad or a music stand.
Oh wow!
If you come here, Bruce Marshall Group of the Shadow Riders, no one will be looking at a page. Everyone will be looking out. I know that sounds snobby to some people, but for my band, that's the way I like it.
Now, when you first started out, were you doing covers?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
The originals, started to eke out as time went on, and they got better and better, and started to record. And then I had, I had real steady work after that. I was with the Richard Carr Productions organization, where they would literally keep you booked 4 or 5 nights a week, 52 weeks a year. They send you a little postcard in the mail. This is where you're playing for the next 8 weeks. It's not like that anymore.
No. So were you mostly around New England, or
Yeah. Mass, New England, New Hampshire, a little bit of Connecticut, Rhode Island, and I did get out of the area a little bit, but I've always been kind of regional.
And how did the music, where you started to be able to write your own songs, where did your inspiration come from?
Allman Brothers Band live at the Fillmore East. Say no more.
That'll do it.
That was the blueprint for me to learn blues guitar, and jazz to a certain extent too, because they took it a lot further than any other Southern band.
True.
I just started getting excited about working more and playing more guitar. Usually I have a lead guitar player in my band. I'm not typically the lead player, but I have been in a band where I'm the only guitar player. And as a frontman singer, I do like that crutch of having. So I have Dave Connoyer, who's been with me for
a long time.
30 years.
Yeah.
He's been in my band for forever, and we just have a great thing going on. So I really love those bands. I love Southern rock. I ended up playing with Toy Caldwell from the Marshall Tucker Band, who was one of my idols, so that was like huge. That kind of tied into that whole Southern thing, the Southern influence.
Was that the period where he got away from the Marshall Tucker Band?
Yeah, in '84 they kind of had a mutiny. Four of the original 6 left in the early '80s, and so Toy wanted to get off the road and watch his kids grow up. So that didn't last long. He got off the road for about 3 years, and he had since sold the rights to the name to Doug Gray, who
Right.
to this day is still soldiering on as the only original member of
Firebird Fair this year.
Firebird Fair. That's right. That's right. And Rangeley too. They
Yeah.
played. So you know, it was kind of a thing that just happened. I got an audition through Bob Duteau at Live Nation, and I didn't think, you know, I didn't really know where it was going to go. I actually didn't. I first got to send a tape, and then they immediately got back to me and they said, "We love this song if dreams were money, and we're going to tell you that you're getting an audition."
Wow.
That's as far as we're going to do. And it was a multi-step process. They took me on the road with them. They really wanted to make sure, and I got the gig, and I went from playing little gin mills in New England to jumping on a bus with Charlie Daniels, the Outlaws, and some of my heroes. You know, we were all working for the same management company, so those bands played a lot together. Outlaws, Tony Caldwell Band. We were playing all the Marshall Tucker music, so he hired me to sing quite a bit of it. And of course, now everybody is totally confused with my last name
Right.
being Marshall. If I had a dime for everybody that says, "You're the Marshall from Marshall Tucker." In fact, it got crazy because I played a room I won't mention, where they advertised me as the original lead singer of the Marshall
Oh
Tucker.
my gosh, there is no Marshall in the Marshall Tucker Band.
So I had to do some, you know, a
That's
little bit
awesome.
of cleaning up and that. But it's, you know, sometimes it's happened so much I just shrug my shoulders.
right,
Yeah,
right.
yeah, whatever. You know.
How was Toy on the road? Energetic still, and
Yeah. He passed at 45,
Right, yeah.
which was absolutely tragic. He was. I give him all the credit in the world because he was making his way back. You know, he played all the biggest venues in the world with Marshall Tucker. They're one of the top bands in the late 70s, and he was trying to claw his way back. And so we did everything from little gin mills to big shows for 60,000 people, like bike events and all
Right.
that kind of thing. And it was mostly New England work, which was pretty cool for me, you know, because they were based out of Spartanburg, South Carolina.
right.
And so I wasn't going to move there. And so that's eventually why I stopped playing with them. Just the distance was just, I mean, it cost them about $750 to fly me back and forth to Tennessee to do a session.
Right.
You know, and that just, you know, that got too much for them.
I knew he put out a couple of solo albums. Did you get into the studio with him at all, or?
Interesting story. I won't get into it too heavy. I was part of the original tracks on his solo record, Son of the South.
Mm-hmm.
But I left the band before it was finished.
I see.
So I did not get on the record.
No.
I worked on it. I have photos of the unit, but I'm not officially on the record.
Wow.
That was a bit of a heartache for me.
Well, that's something to carry close to you, though, because having the ability to get out and work with someone like that must have helped you to even take more of a next step in your career.
Yeah, it was a huge confidence booster. Like right after I got out of Toy Caldwell, I hooked right up with James Montgomery. And I probably wouldn't even have thought of auditioning for James Montgomery. Before that, I didn't really think I was up to snuff. But he loved he gravitated toward the acoustic part of my show, and he said, you know, I'm all set electrically, but I would love to work with you, you know, an acoustic duo. And then when he found out my agent was Live Nation, he got really excited.
Yeah, that's funny. And I should have brought it out, but I actually have a CD of you and James with the duo at Rick's Cafe in Naples, Maine.
Oh my!
I know, I have that in the Blue
You have
Summit
it.
Library. Yes, I might have to have you sign it.
You may be the only one that has it.
I'll get it when we're done here.
That
too.
may have been a bootleg.
Yeah, quite possibly. There's no pictures on it or anything, but I don't know where I got it from, but I do play it from time to time. And speaking of playing, we're talking with Bruce Marshall, the Bruce Marshall Group from Denmark, Maine, talking about the new album Vintage to Verdict. And would you play the second original song that's on this new album for us?
I would love to, yeah. And I just want to let you know that it was co-written with Dave Knoyer. And the way we write these days is I just come up with a vocal melody and I sing it a cappella over my phone, into my phone memos. And then I send it to David and he writes all the music.
Wow.
We've never done this before. We've done this now on 3 songs. And so this is what happened with this one. See if you think it worked. This is Once in a Blue Moon. I don't know what I was thinking. Was I blinded by love? I had space, I had a system, and then push came to shove. When I saw you, I was taken, then caution set in. All I could say is we could be friends. I'm afraid of temptation and falling too soon. I would love to get together once in a blue moon. Now my soul's tired and tested, and I take to the road. My mind's clear and rested, and my seeds have been sowed. By then you're not taken, I'll come to your town. It's really okay if you're not around. And I know this might sound like my signature tune, but I'd love to see you once in a blue moon. Now the chances might be slim that I'll ever be near you again. Thank God it's not sinking in. Now you want an explanation, 'cause this feels like the one. If it's infatuation, I turn and I run after 29 days and the second full moon. You can be sure that I'll be home soon, and the good news, it happens 2 times this June. Then I swear I'll see you once in a blue moon. Now I know this might sound like my signature tune, but I'd love to see you once in a blue moon. Oh, once in a blue moon.
Thank you so much, Bruce Marshall. There's that jazz influence you're talking about there.
Yeah. David and I thought we might present this to Michael Bublé. That was kind of like the first idea, like from a songwriting standpoint. Let's pitch this.
Well, if he takes it and you get the credit for it, that could be a little paycheck for you.
Well, that's what I'm wondering, yeah. But that's always in the back of your mind,
Right, that's great. So new music from the Vintage to Verdict album, new songs, and some of the deep cuts from the library of Bruce Marshall. And introduce us to the band and your lovely wife, please.
I would love to. My lovely wife is Michelle Marshall, and she's my rock. The band members are David Connoyer on lead guitar and vocals. Glenn DiTomaso is on bass guitar. Pete Primo is our drummer, and John Vanderpool is the recent addition on sax and flute and vocals.
Well, that adds something to it.
Did I
too.
forget anybody? I hate when I do that. I want to just take 1 second and thank you guys, so much for your support of artists like myself, that aren't signed. Well, I am, but you know what I mean, that haven't been over the years.
Right.
It is so appreciated.
Well, thank you so much, and it's having live music in the studio is something special too. You just really get to enjoy it, chat a little bit, play a little tune or two, and I think we're going to take a quick break here, and when we come back, we'll do some more.
Sounds good.
Bruce Marshall with us here on 93.5 WMWV.